Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen. Justin Gelband here with my good buddy Rafael. And today we are going to discuss my first major superstar, lovely, wonderful, intelligent, beautiful client, friend, confidant, same as my sister Miranda Kerr.
So many titles.
You have to understand, this woman really took me in under her wing in a way that I couldn't even imagine. It's so hard sometimes to describe or to talk about certain people in a certain way when the focus of your life and lifestyle and your body and your work is based upon how you look every single day. Mm-hmm. And so when I started training models, it wasn't because I wanted to train models. It was because every single person under the sun would discuss in newspaper articles, TV interviews, TV shows, movies, whatever it may be. They were just all about how can someone maintain a body and be a supermodel. And there was a supermodel at the time who was really, really skinny, and her name was Kate Moss. And yes, everybody knows that she's one of the biggest, best, most, sought after model at the time. But because she was her own body, and because she was a little bit shorter and she was a little bit smaller and she had her own identity, everybody compared the business to what she was doing. And then if you're shooting with somebody like Steven Meisel and Patrick Demarchier and Peter Lindbergh, and Steven Meisel is your all-in-one, and he's shooting you every single day, and the business is saying, okay, well, you need to look like this. And maybe she partook in extracurricular activities that people didn't agree with. And that's somebody, I say this to people all the time. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. I have a motto. I've had it for years. Be the best that you can be with the body that you yourself have been given, because everybody is different and everybody's different. So what's good for one isn't necessarily good for the next. And so for people to criticize you and belittle you and make you feel insecure all the time, how do you think it is for a woman to walk outside every single day as a supermodel or as someone in the modeling business or celebrity? It doesn't matter, either one. And every day you have to wear a different outfit. And every day you have to be in makeup. And every day you have to have your hair done. And every day you have to look a certain way and have a certain appearance and have a certain authority to be that person that they're expecting you to be. I give these women so much credit because you know yourself, you've worked in the business and you've been around it. It's not about, who you are necessarily based on the fact that you did 10 campaigns. It's about who you are at this specific moment. How are you making a difference in the business, and why do people want to shoot you? And people want to shoot you because you're shooting with the biggest photographers and you have that look and you have that desire and that empowerment and you are that sexy, beautiful woman. But not all of them are sexy and beautiful in the way that the public may see. And so if somebody's like, oh, well, this woman is 5'7" and she's 115 or 20 pounds, and I don't usually go by weight because I don't like that, but she looks a certain way, and then you have a woman who's 6 feet tall or 6'1" and is 140 pounds and has a little bit of hips and some boobs or breasts or however you want to say, and is curvy and whatever. Oh, well, she's not going to fit into the sample size, and she's overweight, and she doesn't look good, and she is this. So when all that was going on, I said, you know what? I want to get into this business.
How did you end up training models?
So, thank you, Rafael. Sorry, I speak a lot. I know I do. I have so much in this little brain of mine that has never come out before.
How do you have so much energy?
No, everybody asks me this. No.
Okay, Jesse?
Yes, I'm perfectly okay. But you want to know something? The reason why I have so much energy is because I always say to people, I really love being in Brazil, and it makes me happy. I feel like in any other place I've ever been outside of America, I've always been happy. I think in America, I find myself being more stressed out because so much on my plate all at one time. And here, I feel free and I feel alive. And so, yes, this is why I have a lot of energy. And no, I do have a lot of energy too when I'm
It's not the vitamin shake.
No, it's not a vitamin shake. Okay. But I do have a lot of energy normally. But I do also go to sleep at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And I do wake up at 4:30 and start work. But I think the energy comes from being empowered and being happy, And I think that's one of the things yesterday when we shot our video, one of the most empowering things about my work or our work is when I do my exercise or when I'm in the zone, I feel so empowered that I just want to go and I want to see and I want to succeed and I really want to bring something new to the world. And I've had little opportunity over the last 15 years to ever sit down with somebody like you and discuss what my career was about. Where did it come from? How did it expand, or how was it created? Well, I sent you all the photos from 2006 to 2019, and if I bring myself back and I actually look at the photos and look at the work I did, I'm like, I really did that.
It feels good, right?
Oh, it feels incredible. And I never ever gave myself credit for it because I always treat people the same.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say to you before, everybody is different, everybody's different, but at the end of the day, everybody's still that person.
Yeah.
So if you're working with Taylor Swift or Carly Kloss or Candace Swamp or Irina Shayk or Miranda Kerr or Angela Lindvall, there's still even no supermodels in their daily life. When you look at them at the end of the day, they're still those people.
Yeah.
So people have this perception of what they think these people should be, but at the same time, they're still normal human beings. I've worked with more supermodels than any man in the history of supermodel training, okay? These women work hard. They really do. They really have the mentality because of what they're under every single day and the scrutiny and the stress and the anxiety and having to be beautiful all the time. And people are like, oh, it's so rough to be beautiful. These women eat right, exercise right, and create a right lifestyle. And I think we did that as a team. I think that when I came into most of these girls' lives, they were babies. I started with Miranda at 22. I started with Candace at 18. I started Marina Linchuk at 19. I started with Irina Shayk at 19, Carly Kloss at 19. So they're young women. Yeah. And as a team, we were able to create lifestyles for these people and work together as a team. I'll never take credit for the work that they've done. I've always been kind of like the tour guide and taught them and empowered them and mentally got into there. I think that people don't understand that exercise is a physical game or a physical trait, but it's also a mental trait. You know, how do you empower them? How do you instill confidence in them? How do you keep them thinking that no matter what, they're still beautiful, even though they're beautiful, and that they can reach any goal and objective in their life?
They were babies, but who were you back then when you met them?
I was...
Not only about age, but what were you
I
living? Who were you?
Who was I? That's a very good question. I was immature, and I grew up really fast. My first two biggest clients were Josh Duhamel and Paul Oakenfold. Paul Oakenfold was the #1 DJ in the world, needed to lose weight, and he was on a radio show, and I was training this guy, Christian B., who was a radio broadcaster. And I was like, oh, buddy, you got to do me a favor. He's like, why are you whispering? I was like, because I don't want him to hear me, because I was at the studio with him. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, please, go in there, talk about exercise. I want to train you. Because I always followed Paul Oakenfold, but I didn't know who he was, like, as far as his life and his lifestyle. And it was amazing to listen to him. I always followed his music, but I wanted to know his personal life. And then Christian threw in that question at the end. So, what do you do for health and fitness and exercise? He's like, I have this superstar trainer that I work with named Justin, and he does this, and this. And after we were done, Paul asked his manager to get my number, and we started training together. And he became like one of my best friends in the whole world, like a brother. Yeah. And I've been all over the world with him. I've said in an interview, tell us 5 things about Justin that people don't know. 35 countries. Yeah, 35 countries, and 22 of them were because of him. Wow. So everywhere he would go, I would go. I spent 6 different seasons in Ibiza for at least 2 to 3 weeks when he was performing. So, and Josh Duhamel, I met through his model girlfriend at the time, who she was like, yeah, he just won an Emmy. He wants to train with you for win a date with Tad Hamilton. Are you interested? And then Josh was introduced to me. We trained. He loved it. And then he's like, hey, I have this other guy named Topher Grace from That 70s Show. Would you like to train him as well? And I was like, this is crazy. And then Topher Grace introduced me to Anne Hathaway. That's how I started training Anne Hathaway. And then it was like, oh my God, how is this guy in there? And this is how it all started. And those
is this how you grow in the business?
Yes,
is indications?
That's how I grew. That's how I grew. I mean, I always say there's a couple different things that really set me off. One of them was Christy Pierce introducing me to Josh Duhamel.
Yeah.
Another one was Christian B introducing me to Paul Oakenfold, because you're working with two big guys in the business. He got the Transformer movies, and then he did Las Vegas, the TV show, and everybody knew who he was. And he introduced me to a bunch of people. And then when I said Topher Grace, he loved the training too, and it was the best shape he had ever been, because he's always been really lean, right? On the skinnier side, because of that 70s show, because he was known for that in his part. And so when he introduced me to Anne Hathaway introduced me also to other people, and I was like, wow, it just exploded from there. And then I was working, in Los Angeles with various different people, and I was like, wow, this is incredible, the opportunities that I'm having working with everyday normal people, because I started my career training overweight women. I didn't start my career training celebrities. So on the same time that I was training these overweight women, I was training celebrities at the same time. And it really allowed me to grow as a person, and grow not only physically but mentally, because physically I was able to work out more. I was able to put more time and energy into fitness itself, because not only do you have to look good, but a lot of these clients wanted you to work out with them. Go for runs, go for hikes. I'm working with a trainer, but I'm also not having to overwork myself. Like Paul Oakenfold, we would go running 4 days a week. So he'd run around his neighborhood for about 4 to 5 miles, and then we would go back to his house, and then we would train together.
Is there any real difference between training celebrities and normal people?
I think just the persona of it.
Do you find, I don't know, celebrities more focused on because it's part of the job to look good or something?
I think it's not only that they're more focused, and I don't want to say use more focus. I think they're more empowered to really create a lifestyle for themselves around the exercise. Not everybody, but a lot of them. Because when you're in a position where you have to look good all the time, whether it's a supermodel or a celebrity for a role, unless you're playing these roles where you don't have to be in shape all the time and look good all the time, you have to set a standard for yourself, and if you don't set that standard and you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, well, over the next 6 months I have to be on this TV show and I have to look a certain way, they already have that expectation. They already have not only expectation on themselves, but from everybody else.
I see.
And Ruth Bernstein was Josh Duhamel's publicist and became a really good friend of mine, and she introduced me to Lindsay Lohan, which I trained Lindsay for 3 years, and everybody's like, "Whoa, Lindsay Lohan," and that's why I don't like to bring negative to conversations. But she had her own issues, but it didn't come from her; it came from her surroundings. And again, if you're famous when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old already, and then you go and do a movie called Mean Girls, and you're literally now the biggest girl in the world, or one of, and then you have all these outside influences telling you what to do with your money and yourself, and you have young men and older men and everybody after you because you have a curvy body, and you have all these things to administrate, and this is when I got into her life right when things started to go a little bit off the yellow brick road, as I say. I said, we're all on our own yellow brick road, and the yellow brick road isn't straight, but if you go off the yellow brick road, you're going to have a problem. She just wasn't able to handle everything by herself, and if you don't have any influences that are positive, and you don't have people really injecting, not only positivity, but empowerment and self-esteem and motivation and love and affection, because these people literally, they're on set all day long. If you are the star of your movie or your show, there's so much on you at a young age to be able to have to deal with these, I don't know. I don't want to be negative, but these groups of men staring at you all the time, making comments and so forth. And listen, the business isn't and wasn't at that time done in the right way. Women were never treated equals. And I always say this, I've been a feminist since the start of my career. And the last 22 years, I've worked with 95% women. And not that I don't like men, but dealing with the exercise.
It's okay to not like men. It's okay.
Dealing with the fitness around training men is a lot different than dealing with the personalities. And women, I've always thought, never got equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Never got equal pay, not got equal treatment. It's always some sexual harassment or, some sly words or, a woman has to go on set and has to be naked at some time or be implied, and there's always somebody there they're making a comment or looking when they shouldn't, and it's like, where's the respect there? Where's the
Yeah.
respect? And that's another reason why I wanted to get into the training models too, is because of all the stories I had heard. I heard so many stories about different photographers and different people abusing these young women, and I'm going to be somebody that's going to recreate what a supermodel should look like. The new size 2'4", whatever their body type is, lean, toned, sexy, beautiful, self-motivated, self-esteem, energy, and ready to get on that runway or campaign or whatever and just rock it. Anyone can say whatever they want, but I think I really made a difference in the business. And it all goes back to what I said. Ruth Bernstein took me to a party in Hollywood. It was 2006. And there's this girl sitting on the floor in the corner wearing a straw hat. And she's like, listen, I want to introduce you to this woman over here. I'm like, okay. So I go over, and Angela Lindvall was sitting on the floor. She was just chilling. She's like, I just had a baby a few months ago. And, hi, my name's Justin. My name's Angela. How are you? She's like, listen, I was supposed to shoot Sports Illustrated in September. I'm not sure if I am or I'm not. But I'm going to be shooting the Victoria's Secret show in November in L.A.
2 major gigs.
Right? And I want to know if I can lose 30 pounds for my baby in 4 months. One thing that and anyone can, this was a discussion we had in the office one day, which we all started laughing, but can you get somebody in shape that quick, that fast? And it's literally like the last, 5-8 pounds or the last 3-4 kilos or, 10 to 20 pounds in a short period of time. And I said, that's what I live for. And it's what I've lived for my whole life. I grew up a swimmer, a tennis player, played soccer, ran cross country. But my swimming coach, Jim Wood, I always give him credit. He was so hard on us, and he was so focused for us to continually be our best and to really go after our swimming and do. And I think in that time, I wasn't mature enough to understand what he really wanted, but I learned so many lessons from him. And he was always, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. I know you can do better. And I use that as my secret weapon of, you know what? I know people told me I could never do this, but I know I can. And I said to Angela, I said, yeah, I can do it. And she's like, are you sure? I said, yeah. I said, first of all, nutrition is number one. 90% of what you do is what you eat. She's like, well, we have that in the bag because I'm a raw eater and I eat really healthy, and I can probably teach you a little bit about nutrition. And I would say she could, and she did. And we did it, and she looked unbelievable. And once she did the Victoria's Secret show in 2006, I started getting phone calls from people in New York, and I was still living in LA. And so I put up my gym for sale. It's like, I don't want to be here anymore. My dad and my mom were in a period in their life that they were really missing me. My parents had never really gone out to LA because it's really far. It's 6.5 hours from, depending on where you are, 5.5 to 6.5 hours from New York, New Jersey. And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I asked Angela to introduce me to her agents, managers, and she'd introduce me to this guy named Ali and Scott Lips. And at the time, Scott was friends with Miranda Kerr. And Ali was the main manager of the girls. Now, when I tell you, this guy, to this day, is still the Uber of managers. He's the Uber of managers. I mean, he has every single girl under the sun right now. He just put out a campaign with Candace and Alessandra and Kim Kardashian for her brand line. And he has literally every girl that I trained or have trained is in his list of people, and he just knows what he's doing. And he's the one who gave me to Ann V. He's the one who introduced me to this girl Linda V. And he's the one who introduced me to Candace, to Irina, and he's still their managers today, which is by far incredible.
So before you work with Miranda, you worked with Angela.
Uh-huh.
How did you feel when you saw her walking for Victoria's Secret? Because it was the only one in 2006. So you had your jam, you had your dreams, but these were something new for you, working in fashion industry. So how was it seeing her walking down the runway?
Here's the crazy part, right? And people can create stories and make up things. And one thing that I always has been honest, right? And some people are, so what did you think of the first Victoria's Secret show? I said, I didn't go. And she's like, what do you mean you didn't go? I said, I didn't go. Because at the time, Justin Timberlake was
Bringing the sexy back.
yes. And he was the performer at the time. And it was Giselle's last show. And at the time, in order for me to get in the show, it was already, I think we started training in August. The show list was already set. And so most of the time, the girls only get 1 or 2 people as invites. And she's like, Justin, I want to invite you so bad, but my sister's going to come and my mom's going to come and I want you to do, and I'm going to do my best. But one thing I can promise you, you're going to go to the after party. I promise you I will get you in the after party. People ask me this all the time. They're like, so you didn't go? I said, no, I didn't go. And they're like, you were upset? I said, well, disappointed. But the coolest part was I got to go to this crazy, amazing after party in Los Angeles with all the people that were there that were at the show. I got to see all the girls.
But you saw the show
But I got to
later.
watch the show at the party.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So people asked me. So when I got to the party, I had gone with one of my friends that was a model as well, Melissa Baker, and she had just started her career. And she ended up being a Sports Illustrated model and done a lot of different campaigns and so forth. So the two of us went, and the funny part is when we got inside, Melissa's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to go sit on the couch. She's like, what do you mean? This is like everybody's here in the world. She's like, I want to go see all the models. I said, go wander and come back. I was like, but I'm going to sit on the couch. She's like, why? I was like, because I want to watch the show. And I literally sat on the couch and I watched the entire hour of the show because I had the show running the whole time.
Yeah.
And different scenes and different play. And when I saw Angela walk down the runway, I was like, whoa, I did that? I was taken back to the point where I know where we started. I know who we had. And I know that when they wrote an article about Angela and I, which you can still find online, it was so empowering to see that my work that I had created after my car accident, by the way, because that's when I really got into training the method of Justin Gelband, really worked on this woman. And I was like, wow, if it works on her, and it works on my clients that I'm working with now, what can it do to the supermodels that I'm training in my future? Because I literally manifested that. I am going to train supermodels for a living. And I know people call me crazy, especially my best friend Anthony was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, no, buddy, I'm going to train supermodels. I'm going to move back to New York, and I'm going to go after it. And I did.
Well, you literally trained for somebody for the Victoria's Secret runway, so kind of you were supposed to.
No, but the crazy part is that I was a hustler, and I've always been a hustler. When I got to New York City, yes, I was training Miranda, and I was training Ann V and Linda V, and the three of them gave me the greatest opportunity to work with the three of them. But you can't survive off 3 clients. I went into each and every agency. I did. I went to Ford. I went to the Elite. I went to Wilhelmina. I went to IMG, One Model Management, anywhere that I can go. And I would go in there and say, hi, my name is Justin Gelband, and I train Miranda Kerr, Ann V, and Linda V. And I would love the opportunity to train each and every model you have in here, whether it's a supermodel, a beginning model, someone that needs help. And I promise you that if you work with me, the first 10 sessions are on me. Now, if after the 10 sessions the person isn't happy, they don't have to pay me. But when it's over, it's because normally it's prepaid.
Yeah.
But I said, I'll do it the other way. If after 10 sessions they're not happy with the work that I've done, then they don't have to pay me. There's not one that didn't pay me. It was unbelievable. And it just escalated from there. And that's how everything started, was because when Scott Lips introduced me to Miranda Kerr, in the beginning, I was like, oh, how am I going to train this woman? You know, I mean, she's doing Pink, she's doing Victoria's Secret, you know, and sometimes, you know, you would do packages for girls, you know, a little bit more expensive or a little cheaper. And, you know, I tried to do the best that I could with Miranda just to make her feel like she was special, because I was like, how am I so lucky to have a woman like this? And she literally took me under her wing. And she's like, Justin, you're amazing. You're super cute. You're fun. And you know your stuff. And I want to work with you. And we just started working together 3, 4, 5 days a week, every single week, week in and week out, week in and week out. And she used to live in an apartment on 23rd by the West Side Highway. And at the time, I was living at 63rd in Lexington, all the way uptown. But I didn't care. I took the train. I walked, took the train. And like I said, we trained 4 to 5 days a week, and we really created a, a foundation for her. And when I started with her, she needed to gain about 5-10 pounds of muscle. And I said, okay, well, you can't
Oh,
do
so it's the other way around.
It's the other
Normally, agencies ask for girls to lose weight, and she needed to, I don't know.
I don't want to say
some
gain weight.
muscle.
That's but she needs
Gain
to gain
muscle.
muscle. Yeah, she
Yeah.
needed to be a little bit more curvy and a little bit more fit and in shape. This woman has always been naturally skinny, and so she needed to put on weight, but good weight, muscle weight. And another person like Angela, who was so always involved in her nutrition. She always ate super clean, super well. She literally had various vitamins and minerals, and always shopping at Whole Foods, and always eating the right things, and always picking the right places to eat. And it was just incredible because she taught me a lot too about nutrition. And I really know that if I do this in the next 6 months, that I'm going to create something for myself that's going to bring me into another time zone. And like I said, as I was gaining the recognition from all the other clients that I was training, though if I would have gone backwards, talking about maturity, I don't think I would have taken on all those medium to big models right from the beginning, because I don't think I had the opportunity to give what I wanted to give in the right places. Because there was a point where I reached, 2009, 2010, 2011, where literally I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I started at 6, and I worked from 6 in the morning to 9 p.m. Supermodel after supermodel after supermodel after supermodel. 15 clients a day for 3 years. 3 years. No, I'm not kidding with you. And people can say whatever they want, and I don't want to say, I have to find someone. Anyone who knew me knew that you would go to Mushin, was a mixed martial arts studio that this guy Eric used to work in. This other place we used to work on 40 Bond Street, and that's where the girls started to go. Yeah. And then when I moved to Mushin, I had my own little area with my Pilates table and my functional movement stuff and everything, and literally it was one after the other, after the other, after the other. I had trained every major model that you were able to train in that period of time. But again, it goes back to where? To Miranda. Because in Miranda's first Victoria's Secret show in 2007, no one saw her with a body like that. And every single major model, major agent, celebrity person that was around at that time was like, where did this come from? Why does she look like that? And, the phone didn't stop ringing. And I always give her credit for everything, because she really not only took me under my wing, but she would publicize me and talk about me. And in the beginning, not as much. I have this thing in my house that one day I'll bring to the office that says, "Secret Weapon, Justin Gelband." And the reason why was because the girls never really wanted to share me, because they realized that, wow, this guy is a one-of-a-kind trainer who's getting me in the best shape that I've ever been in my life. He's very courteous and caring, and wants to have the best for me and the best for my life and lifestyle and my mindset. And so I don't want to share him with a lot of different people. And so it was hard in the beginning, especially because, you're working with Miranda and Ann and Linda, and now all of a sudden Bahati enters your life, and then Candace enters your life, and then Irina enters your life, and now all of a sudden you have Lily enter your life, because Lily was best friends with Miranda, and now you have like 7, 8 supermodels that you're training all at the same time. And it's not one little girl, It's not like, I'm training Miranda and some young model. You're training 8 of the biggest up-and-coming models that there is in the world, and everybody wants your attention, and now you have to share that with everybody. These women really took me to another level, and Miranda was the forefront of it, because she gave me the opportunity to understand what I needed to do to be in the business. She taught me so much, because she's such an inspiration in the way that she always dresses really fashion forward. She always needs to look her best. She had all the best clothing and the best outfits and the best purses and the best, makeup and makeup artist and, any type of aesthetic that she did. So I met all these amazing people. And so I was able to kind of compartmentalize how I could create a better lifestyle for the girls by understanding what the photographers were shooting and how they were shooting, and what the lighting was like, and what they needed to look like, and what positions they would be in. And I would go to set sometimes, and I get to see that. And then because of Miranda, I got to be more on Victoria's Secret set and see the people and know the people and being introduced, and all of a sudden now I'm the Victoria's Secret trainer. After 2009, I'm training Candice and Miranda, who are the two biggest Victoria's Secret models there is, except for Adriana and Alessandra. And so I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So wherever you go, they want you. And then Bahati came in because Bahati was the pink girl at the time, and she was the contracted pink girl, and they never had a pink girl with a contract. And so now you have those five, and it's like, how can you go wrong?
Yeah.
You know, and everywhere you go, you're being introduced to these people. And again, Miranda really gave me the opportunity to understand why, what, and how.
Did Miranda give you some feedback about your training? What was it that clicked for her, that gave her the body that she needed? Do you know what did you do different than the others?
Yes. I always said that after the car accident, when I created the method of Justin, it was based on lifestyle of movement. How do you move best for your own specific body? And Miranda was always this high-end fashion girl / commercial girl / little cutie patootie, Victoria's Secret girl. So there were so many different looks that she could have. And she was a yoga girl. She loves her yoga, and she always did yoga. She's always participated in yoga. She could teach yoga. I mean, she's very intelligent. And it was one of the things that she really wanted to always continue to grow in, the yoga space. And I think that because all my exercise was built on stretching and elongating and Pilates and balance and stability and leaning and toning and extending, everything based on what yoga is about, right? So all the exercises that I did with her on top of her doing yoga really kind of built one into the other. And so she would always comment, wow, I really enjoy your training because I don't feel that someone is actually putting pressure on my joints and my ligaments and tendons. Rather, you're strengthening in them and making me look and feel the best that I want to look. And you're so experienced and so knowledgeable in the area of expertise of training itself that you're always doing continuing education, and you're always wanting to learn more, and you're always asking questions, and you always want to see things, and you're always observing. I give credit to every single client that I've ever trained with in my entire life, because any client that I've ever trained gave me the opportunity to learn about what? About who I am, why I am the person that I am, and how I can improve on who I am. Because every single day that you train a client, their body changes, right? And their positions change, and their attitude changes, and their mindset changes. And you need to feel your clients. You need to understand your clients. To be a trainer, it's not just being a trainer. It's being a personality to be able to handle the person who you're dealing with, everyday lifestyle, profession, mindset, and create something that's going to be viable so that they can continue their journey with longevity. You don't want to be a model for a year. You don't want to be a model for 2 years. And yes, I've trained models that were in and out in 2 years, in and out in 4 years. But most of the models I've ever worked with, who've worked with me for 13, 14, I mean, I've known Miranda now going to be 15 years. Okay, maybe we only trained for like 11 of them, because 4 of them because of the pandemic and because of traveling, because she lives now in LA and she doesn't live here. But, the opportunity was there because I was able to understand her as an individual. So it's big part is the training, but more is the mindset.
In 2006, you trained Angela. In 2007, you trained Miranda and Angela.
Yeah.
In 2008, well, things got out of hands.
Yes.
Because you trained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 girls. How was that? Because first you were training like a personal trainer with them, and then Victoria's Secret asked you to train the others. How was it?
No, that's why I said when Miranda walked the runway in 2007, again, shows you who I am as a person. When I want to train somebody, and I think people thought I was crazy, I would literally say, I want to train this girl, and be like, okay, and it would come true, because I would manifest it beforehand, and then I would go after it. And so in 2007, when I was at the Victoria's Secret show, which I was invited to, which was my first Victoria's Secret show, as soon as the show was over, you go backstage, they have parties, they have this, they have that. And there's a little beautiful blonde girl walking past me, and her name is Candace Swampole. And I'm like, I want to train that girl. I don't care. I know that this girl has the most potential you've ever seen in your life, as far as being like the most incredible supermodel body that anyone has ever seen. I introduced myself that day, and I went to Ali, and I said, Ali, I want to train Candace. And he's like, okay. I'm like, no. What is it going to take? Please. I'll give her 10 sessions for free, whatever it is. I want to train her. I promise you, if you allow me to train this girl, not only are we going to have a superstar career together, but she will be a girl that every single woman in the world is going to want to look like. Because not only did she have that calm, cool, loving personality behind her, but she was always that woman that you knew that once you got her in your space, and we could be in the same dance space together, and we could dance together and work together, and she would follow my lead. And she wasn't one of those people that was self-centered or egotistical. She was very shy. She was very communicative. And she likes her stuff her way, but also in a good way. She always, please, thank you, looking after people, wanting to know everybody's doing well. And she was just a light around everyone. And I knew that was it. And then once I started with it, I was like, okay, girl, we're going to kill it. 2008, it's our year. And, starting with her was so big because now I have a woman named Miranda who's doing Victoria's Secret and Pink. Now I have Candace, who right at that point was the Pink girl and the Victoria's Secret girl, right? Doing both as well. And because of Miranda's body, everybody wanted to train with me. And so I was like, okay, well, if I can get Candace to look this way, then I know that every single person, for her body, obviously, then everybody's going to want to work with me. And I ended up training Bahati because of the fact that Bahati's agent saw how Miranda did and was like, no, I want him. And then all the other agents were reaching out to me. And that's how I ended up getting all these clients, because I started getting phone calls from all these different agents say, hey, I have a girl for you. Her name's Marina Linchuk. We really want you to train her. What'd you do? Oh, I have this girl. Her name's Julia Stegner. I want you to train her. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. The first show in 2008 in Miami, I still to this day will say was the best show that I ever had in my life. What's the difference between training indoors and outdoors? Okay. When you're outdoors on the beach, and I'll say this to anyone in the world, there's no better training to do than beach training. Period. End of story.
That is true.
Okay. And I had the opportunity to work with 9 women where we were staying at a hotel that was right off the beach called the Fountain Blue, which hadn't even really opened yet. I had my own apartment, which Miranda helped me get, which was amazing. I had 8 girls, to be honest with you, and the 9th was Salida Ebanks. And how I got Salida Ebanks is Victoria's Secret was, hey, would you like to do an interview on camera training Salida Ebanks? And I'm like, you're joking, right? And at the time, she was dating a big professional, Carl Banks, a big professional Giants football player at the time. And I was like, oh, cool. And I got to meet Carl Banks. I was all excited. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And it was just really cool because, I never thought that anyone had this expectation of what I could do and how I would. And every manager and every agent that was there was like, no, he's the trainer. He's the trainer. And then they started calling me the Victoria's Secret trainer after that show. Because literally having 9 girls in the show, I mean, yes, there's other brands in the last few years that, and no names need to be necessary, who've trained 20 girls at a time, but they also had a staff of 5 people. And I still don't think that the girls ever got in the shape that they should have gotten in, but that's a whole other conversation. And like I said, each his own. I never try to put down other trainers for their work.
Yeah.
I just know how my work is, and I take my work and I always put it on the highest pedestal in the world, and I'm very serious when it comes to my work. And if I want some girl working in a campaign or on a runway, or especially a Victoria's Secret show, I want to make sure that their body looks as perfect as it possibly can for that moment.
But could you talk about more of how was the training for Miranda. What did you do to help her to
Okay.
gain more
When you
muscles?
start with foundation, you have to build the foundation to the body, right?
Yeah.
So what did I do with Miranda? When I started training her, I started to build a foundation to movement through steps, through sits, through little lunges, through little rotations, through little movements. And I started off with lighter weights. So I started off with, I don't know, 1 kilo. After that, I went to 1.5 kilos. Then you went to 2 kilos. And I was using mostly free weights and mostly like ankle weights and discs. And I would use a little bit here and there of the machines. You know, I was always really against machine work,
Yeah.
right? Like a leg press or a leg extension, or for me, it just never works. But there are times that you can sauce up
Mm-hmm.
using the machines,
Yeah.
you know, where you're having them just do a leg extension with one leg and having them really, really go super, super slow so they're feeling it, and then have them get off the machine, almost like a circuit training, and then do balance and stabilization with a 4 or 5 pound ankle weight where you're keeping the motion really small and really controlled, and you're changing every single angle and every single motion and every single movement, and you're using a slant board and you're using a step and you're using a bozu and you're using a core board, and you're changing all the motions and movements. And as you build a foundation, the slower you go and the more they feel, the more they can start to create. Now, again, let's go back to nutrition. Miranda was like a nutritional specialist. So she had everything that she needed to gain the proper weight, to gain the proper muscle. Each and every day was a battle to put the weight on because she's naturally skinny. But because she would eat a little more and exercise a little more, and we created the foundation to her body in the first 2.5, 3 months, I was able, over a 9-month, almost year period, because the Victoria's Secret show was in November and we started training in January. So
Wow.
I had that whole time to create something for her, and we did. And like I said, we used to train 4 or 5 days a week, sometimes 6, depending on what she was in the mood to do or if she was traveling. And we continued to grow her body in a proper way with the proper muscle and the pop. And every day was a different motion, a different movement, a different exercise, a different regimen. I think that people don't understand that every single day when you walk out of your house, you will never take the same step more than once. So if you're not going to take the same step more than once outside, you're never going to do the same exercises more than once. It's ridiculous to watch people sitting in the gym doing sedentary exercise, sedentary motion, sedentary movements, which is why I don't like machines. If I use a machine, it's a cable machine. So I used a lot of the cable machines with the girls, you know, with different leg lifts and leg extensions and so forth. But I wasn't the guy that sat on a leg press and said, okay, now you're going to press the leg press 50 times and then you're going to do it again and then you're going to do it again and doing the same thing. It's, first of all, it's boring.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
second of all, the results aren't there. And I have this argument with people all the time. Movement is functional. So when you're going to pick something up and you reach over and you grab it and you bring it back into, you're doing a bicep curl. When you go down and pick something up and you pull it back, you're doing a lateral pull with your back. Or you're doing a tricep extension, whatever it is, when you reach up to reach down, right? You're doing a shoulder press. So if you're doing all these little motions and movements in your everyday life, take a 3-pound weight or a 4-pound weight. You're not putting a 15-pound weight on top of a shelf, right? So why is it that all these men look at women and say, oh, yeah, you have to train this way because if you train this way, you're going to be in shape? Well, first of all, if the woman can't even pick up 15 pounds, why have 15 pounds in her hands? Second of all, did you even build the foundation to this woman's body?
Yeah.
Or number 3, did you even try to figure out who she was? Number 4, men are men and women are women. And I'll say this 500 million times, and that's why I love to talk, is because people don't understand that exercise is built individualized for the person, for the body type, and for the lifestyle. Did you hear that, everyone? Women are women and men are men. Men and women do not train the same. Can they do the same things? Yes. Can a man say to a woman she's not strong enough to lift this weight? Yes. Can the woman lift that weight? Probably yes, maybe no. It doesn't matter.
But the training is
But the
different.
training has to be different. Their bodies are built different. I love when a man goes, wow, women, they're so weak. They can't do this. They can't do that. Why should a woman do a push-up? What does she need to do a push-up for? Is she doing climbing a wall? Is she doing a sport that requires doing a push-up? So why should you injure her ligament or her tendon or her joint by pushing her to do an exercise that she can't handle? Not because she can't do it. And that's what people think. They're like, oh, you're just saying that because women aren't strong enough and you're belittling the women's ability. No, I am not. I was in Rio de Janeiro, and I will say this, and then we can go back to our top. And so I'm waiting for my friend who is working, and he's like, "Oh, I'll be done in 2 hours." I'm like, 2 hours? What am I gonna do for 2 hours? Walk around. I'm like, I'm in Jardim Botanico. What am I gonna do? So, but I was walked around. But then I found the gym there. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go in the gym. So I went in the gym and I start doing my crazy.
You wanted to kill time in the gym.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, because it was actually no, but
Okay.
I will be honest with you.
This is so Rio de Janeiro.
No, but
so Rio de Janeiro.
But it was also too that it was kind of rainy out too. So I go into the gym and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all the people and I'm like, okay, everyone here exercises.
Wrong.
Yeah, you said it, I didn't. And I was like, wow. And I saw these 2 women on the ground and they were friends and they were talking to each other and they each had 5 kilos on each leg.
Yeah.
And they're doing butt exercise,
Yeah.
what they call butt exercise.
Yeah.
Where you take your leg and you swing it all the way up and swing it all the way down, swing it all the way up, swing it up. And one of the girls, I think, was a little bit weaker than her friend. And she's like, minha coluna, my back. And I'm like, yeah, of course, because you can't even lift the weight. So I was like, okay. Then she had her friend doing some other crazy exercise, like almost like a scorpion-looking kick.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, no, I can't do this. My back hurts. I'm like, of course the goddamn back hurts. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be rude. I'm gonna be rude. So
Yeah.
I went over to the women. I said, excuse me. Both look at me. I said, how about this? Take the weights off. I want you to put 2 kilos on. And if you can do the same exercise with 2 kilos for your butt that you're doing with 5, right? Then I'll buy you lunch. What? Shut up. I'm like, no, I'm serious.
That's the worst pickup line I've ever
I know,
heard.
but it wasn't a pickup line. I didn't really know what I know it sounds stupid, but I was like, they're like, lunch, what does that mean? I'm like, okay, what do you want? Do you want me to send you a hair and nails at the salon? I'll pay for that too. I guarantee you that I'll give you 4 exercises right now for your butt that you will not be able to do with 2 kilos. The girl looks at me, yeah, you're full of shit. I'm like, okay. Take off the
you
weight.
have to remember that you were in Rio de Janeiro.
I know, but they take off the weights. They put on the 2 kilo weights, and they're like laughing. They're like, you see them like putting their hands together and like this.
Free lunch, free lunch.
And the one girl was like, I don't want lunch. I want you to pay for my manicure pedicure. I'm like, okay, I'll pay for your nails. Don't worry. She's like, seriously? I was like, yeah. I'm like, but you have to do all 4 exercises the right way, buddy. They didn't even get through 4 repetitions of each exercise where the girl's like, what kind of training is this? Hold the resistance, keep your leg at butt level, let your butt lift your leg, and let your thigh bring you down. And just go up probably 6 centimeters up, 6 centimeters down. You use centimeters, we use inches, right?
We do it right.
And I was like, what are you talking about? This is what she says to me. I'm like, please, por favor, segura a resistência, levanta a bunda e volta. They couldn't do 4. And she looks at me, she's like, how much do you charge for training? And I'm like, what? And so I finished the whole 4 exercises and 12 repetitions with them, and I started really small. And both of them, literally, after they were done, they gave me their phone number, like, seriously, we would love to train with you. I said, well, if you put a small little group class together, I'm living here right now, and I'll be here for a good 6 months, but I will come and we can train. But what's the point of the story? The point of the story is this. It's feeling. It's understanding. The movement needs to be something that you cleanly understand, that your mind and brain and body can connect to the movement of the portion of your body that you're working. And, people that do videos, we're going to do biceps today, then we're going to do triceps, then we're going to do back, then we're going to... That's a trainer I was never... Can you make videos for that? Yes, but I don't want you to specifically just do exercise for your back or just do exercise for your legs. Because every day when we get up in the morning and we leave our house, no matter where we're going in our life, we're doing full body workouts because we're using our whole body throughout the day to sit, to stand, to reach, to pull, to push, to go up and down stairs, to go in and out of a car, to go in and out of the office, to pick up whatever things we need to do, to go to the grocery store. You're using every muscle, so you need to strengthen all the muscles. So why can't you do a full body workout every day? You can. You just need to change the movements, change the exercises, and change the routines. When you're done exercising, you need to feel energy. You want to be able to walk out of the place that you're working and not be like, oh my God, I got to go home. I got to go to sleep. That's why I don't like to be negative about other people's training. But out there's about 3 or 4 or 5 different brands of training that's kill your body till you can't move. Oh, I can't sit on the toilet today. Oh my God, my legs are so tight I couldn't walk up and down the stairs. Good for you. But you realize that you're injuring yourself when you're doing that, right? But it feels so good. Does it really? Yeah. How old are you? Oh, I'm 19. Oh, how old are you? Oh, I'm 22. Oh, how old are you? Oh, I'm 24. Okay. Now, fast forward 12, 15 years. So now you're 35 and doing what? Sitting in your physical therapy office, doctor's office, surgeon's office. I have a really good friend. His name John Schneider. He's a chiropractor by trade, but he's a soft tissue specialist, and he lives in New York. And one of my dear friend, and I introduce him to any client that's ever need help. And the funniest part is that he's so intelligent. He's worked with so many different athletes, and he's become famous in his work from these classes of kill your body till you can't move, or yoga. People always ask me, what do you think of yoga? What do you think of yourself? What do you mean? Well, can you connect your mind and brain and body to yourself? Then you can do yoga. But you need to feel the yoga. Not go into a class that's advanced, that you've never stretched before in your life. You're going to come out with a torn hamstring or a separated disc in your back, because it will happen. Yoga is awful for people who don't understand how to do it. You will literally hurt yourself in more than one way. You want to go to a soul cycle class, or you want to go to a bicycling class on a sedentary bike, and you don't know how to ride, and you don't have the seat in the proper way, and you're leaning forward and you're putting all that pressure on your lumbar spine. Why can't you move? Why are your legs so big? I don't understand. Why are my legs growing? Because your legs are protecting your lower back and your hip from tearing. Did you ever recognize that? No. Well, you're spinning 5 days a week and you haven't lost 1 single pound. If anything, you're actually bigger than you were when you started.
Yeah.
And it's just funny to me, because if my best friend or your best friend's mother's best friend or your son or this or that, it's always about who introduces who to what, right? So if I introduce you to the method of training and I say, this is the best training in the world, yeah, it may be, but you need to start that training program, whatever it could be, yoga, Pilates, movement, motion, CrossFit, cycling, running, triathlons, whatever it is, from the foundation. You need to understand your body. I love it when someone walks in and they show me a picture of some supermodel or some, Brad Pitt from Fight Club. Oh, that was the best. And I don't want to see a photo of another man. And I don't want to see I want you to be the best you. Everybody wants to look like someone else when God created us all different for a reason. So whether you're happy or not happy with your body, there's a way to solve that problem. It's by getting into the mind and believing in yourself and trusting yourself and loving yourself and understanding that you can be a supermodel in your own body. Model Fit. Created a gym called Model Fit. Oh, this is a gym for models. No, it's not. It's a gym for you. What do you mean? That's where I go back to be the best that you can be in the body that yourself can be in, because everybody's different. What's good for one isn't necessarily good for this, because you want to be your own model in your own body. So when you look in the mirror and you're looking at yourself and then analyzing yourself, you feel like your own supermodel. That's why I called it Model Fit. Be fit for your own model self. Period.
All right, man. We are out of time.
I know.
It was lovely to talk to you. And we have to talk about other people in other shows and other stories, because you have a ton of them. And if you are in a gym and a white guy show up and tell you he's gonna buy you a lunch, it's not a pickup line. It's just Justin trying to help you, okay? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts is this. Exercise. It's built for you. It's built for your body, your mind, your soul. Be the best in who you are. Believe, love, trust yourself, and know that you can reach any dream, you can reach any reality, any goal, any objective, as long as you put your mind and your body and your soul and your own sentiments into who you are. Understand where you came from and believe that you can be the best you. Thank you.